There's power in a drum beat on a hill above the sea. Power in the voice of a supporter. But it all amounts to nothing. Together we don't sing. There's power when we're North Boise. And it's bang go forever. Old Town scenery. Valley and mountain shine brown to the sea. And the colors of our rainbow, sunset, orange, Tory green. There's power when we're North Boise. SC loyal forever. Someday in North County. Desert to islands, get loud now you and me. All our voices strong together as we cheer on our team. There is power when we're North, oi, 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 oi.
What is up? Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast. I am Drew Stick, here taking you through the next, hopefully 30 or so minutes with our director of events for the Locals. We have Jason Radcliffe. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? Welcome back.
Thanks, man. I've been away for a few days. I'm going to need you guys to catch me up on all the happenings in the last week. We feel like we're finally the engine's getting back up to steam. The train's pulling into the station. Those are two mixed analogies, but let's say it's happening, right? Tom Blick, it is happening. Our director of operations, Tom Blick, what's up, man?
Oh my God, it's game week. It's
Exciting.
Game week. I'm excited.
We have a live game. We got a live one.
Knock on
Again
wood.
for the first time.
We'll see. Hopefully. I kept wanting to write a synopsis for this and put it out, and it was, hopefully this happens this weekend. I don't want to think we want to push our luck at this point as we've had a close call last month, but we will talk about what we've had going on here this last week and then preview that upcoming match this weekend. What for you guys, I think, was the biggest thing that stood out for you this weekend, or this week, really, this past week since the last show, I guess?
Go ahead, Tom.
I don't know. It's just a lot of anticipation. We got a little bit of togetherness through that season ticket barbecue. I wish I could have been there. Something came up last minute, but for me, it's just a togetherness. I can't speak.
You got it.
Togetherness. Nailed it. There we go. Third time's charm. Of just waiting in anticipation. We all just want to be together. It's one thing to be in the Discord talking about it, talking over Twitter, talking over social media, but being back in 109 and just going nuts for this club, doing everything that we can to will the team to 3 points. It's that togetherness that we're missing and having.
For sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think I said that in the Discord. Is that I did not sign up to watch USL soccer on TV. I signed up to get loud and crazy with my friends in 109, and it's just been a lot of watching USL soccer on TV recently. So, ready to get back to it and what I'm actually here for.
It feels like COVID season all over again, just back at home, chilling.
Yeah, that's what it's in 63 days or something like that. 4 years, something like that.
Feels like it, honestly.
Yeah, I couldn't. Speaking of COVID, I got our kids were sick with non-COVID sickness, so that's terrifying in that moment, and then also nice, but also means you can't go to the barbecue. So I missed out on the barbecue too.
Oh man.
So I'm with you, Blick. I've had kind of no interactions here.
Mm-hmm.
I did go to the tap room. I guess I was the closest. Or the Ales and Tails, the tap room, and we got to see some people there, but even that's not the same.
Yeah.
This last Thursday, I'm at work with the game on in a tiny little corner as I'm finishing up.
Ask about that. How was Thursday for everybody?
Oh, dude.
For me, I was a couple hours ahead, so for me it was actually great. I was like, 4 p.m., 4:30 match, finishing up work. This is great. A couple hours ahead, but we haven't had one of those yet, like almost a Champions League match for USL for us. Very silly.
I mean, it was the same. It was same thing for me every week that there's a game from EPL, Champions League, or even the EFL playoffs. I was just working, bullshitting some phone calls and watching soccer the whole time. So it was just it was another day with a little bit something more on the line, a little bit more investment than just watching a game that I don't really care about. It was touch and go there. I wanted to turn it off after we went down 2 and just weren't looking like how we knew we could play. So it was a little bit hard to watch.
Yeah, was fully engulfed in work until right around halftime, and I looked down at my phone and Red Bulls 2, Loyal 0, and I was like, that can't be right. Is that right? And then turn it on and just, all right, well, let's see the comeback. And it was furious. I mean, it was a fun game to watch. Kind of that second half was great. I mean, each team could have scored 2 goals in stoppage time at the end. Like it was crazy. So yeah, ready to be there and pull them over the line here at Torero this week.
Yeah, so this has been 56 days, I believe, is the official tally without a home match here at this point. That is unprecedented in this club's history. We've had some weird scheduling with Grandma's house, with COVID, obviously, with not being there for a ton of matches with people in person in obviously the first season. But this has been the longest spell, the longest drought, if you will, of a home match. So it's going to be pretty fun to see in terms of where we're going this weekend, and just really fun to get there. But let's kind of dial the week back and kind of roll it through here. I mean, you had everything happening there in the beginning of the week. You had this match on that Thursday, right? I think we just kind of summed it up there pretty well. It was kind of hit us by surprise. It's that muscle a lot of soccer fans have where it's like, I might be able to catch a half. I'll squeeze it in during my lunch break or during some calls that I put on my schedule that aren't really calls. And that seems to be kind of the thing that we did. And generally, I mean, let's give just kind of a grade on the match just to let everybody know our emotions here. I think it was a little different than the other draws we've had on the road. It feels like all we do is draw on the road. But draws are better than losses. I think that was my general feeling coming out of it. And it's a weird game and a weird venue. And they played Caden Clark, who's already a German Bundesliga player, but they have reserved him, for coming back from injury or just rehabbing, I guess. And
right,
that's enough to put him. Yeah,
a guy playing 2 levels down from the Bundesliga, right?
Yes. But essentially, and even then, not even nearly. You could see the fire under his feet. I said like a FIFA 79 player against like a bunch of 60s. So it's just like levels, right, in terms of how good this guy is.
I think that his parent club now, Red Bulls, I think it is, obviously since he's with New York, loaned him back for a certain amount of time. I think it'll be like another Matt Turner thing where he just joins back in January.
That makes sense, and it's great for them, great for American players doing well abroad, obviously. But for us, it was fun to have to face that level of competition. I'm sure the guys were up for it, excited for it. Definitely did not have it in the first half there, but it became pretty obvious that they wanted to at least get a point out of this. They wanted to fight back, and we've seen this a couple times from this team, especially this year. They have the ability to score goals even from behind. I think in previous years, we go down a goal or two, that matches those. We don't have that firepower, that ability to put the ball in the net. This year, a little bit different. We can score 3 or 4 goals in any match, even in a half. We've done stuff like that. So I do think that there's the ability here for this club to possibly start pushing forward and maybe, getting back into a winning bracket here. It was a draw for me that felt like a win in a lot of ways, right? You walk out and you go, you know what? That felt maybe 55% great, 45% bad versus some of these that have felt 30 to 70, right? I don't know. That was
right. It's a perspective, right? Where when you're ahead, you assume you're going to win. When you're behind, it feels good to come back, right? Those maybe we're splitting hairs and differences or on reasons and excuses. But yeah, I don't like being down 2-0 to a team that has 1 win, 10 losses, and 2 draws on the season. If they pulled Pulisic into play for him, I wouldn't love that. So yeah, he came back. Watching that Final Fury, like I was talking about, I remember, talking to Landon last year and hearing him say, like, I can't make them put the ball in the back of the net. All we can do is put them in the position, right? And you see kind of time after time there, except for Among, Charlie's last kick of the game right at the goalkeeper, wide open, right at the keeper. We're watching, 6, 7, 8 shots right at the keeper, or off. I think it was Among that scooted one just left. Maybe it was Vassell, just right. that I thought maybe the keeper got a finger on, but didn't quite, like, just either not on target or right at the keeper. So, hopefully they find a way to not do that here.
High quality chances for sure near the end. I think there was a chance to steal 3 or a chance to steal 2 more. All 3 there. And wouldn't have been stolen. I think we worked our way into a position to take the game, but it really did feel like it just wasn't the night we were kind of running against molasses. And it's a weird game time. Again, you're flying across the country. I think for some of those guys' bodies, it's got to be just a really weird time to play a game. You feel like you're back in college or high school with a weird road trip. That's like a makeup game or something. That's kind of the time you would play that. So it is just an odd time during the week and a short week, kind of in that way to play a game, especially on a Thursday. It's not a thing this team does a lot. So I just think that is generally my issue.
Yeah, I don't know how much there was, but it seemed like there was a lot of the boys posted on Instagram or some social media, them walking into the stadium and kind of being, you don't want to say awestruck, but when you're posting yourself walking into a venue, you're thinking about that on some level. Oh, here we are, big Red Bulls. Like, good for you guys, but like, come on.
Right. I think
not the Super Bowl.
that definitely played a factor, and you could see that maybe that's what happened at LA Galaxy as well, right? They've always said they prefer a bigger, wider, standard size field, not one of these baseball fields, right? That kind of doesn't suit our game as well as a nice MLS stadium. It's actually a very nice place, Red Bull Arena, in terms of being a soccer-specific stadium, but just not really, bringing it in that first half. Maybe a little awestruck, maybe a little bit looking around at the surroundings and not really taking it in. So hopefully can put that behind him as they come home here. It's going to feel like weird territory maybe because they haven't done it in so long, but maybe that just helps push us over the edge here against what's going to be a tough opponent, but we'll get to that in a second. Tom, any other thoughts on the game?
Happy with the draw and the point gained, but it just felt it was 3 points lost at the end of it. Like Jason said, a team that has 1 win, 10 losses, 2 draws. We should have put a lot more than 2 past them, and we just did not look good that first half. Second, like towards the end of it, it turned on. Second half, obviously, we came out firing. Amon came on. Put 2 past the keeper. I think it was Vassell that had the one that was just past the post. But overall, it felt like 3 points lost despite getting a point out of it.
Again,
yeah. Still haven't won since Tampa, which feels like 2 months ago. Might have been. I don't know. It's hard to tell here in the no home zone.
Yeah.
So that is that. Any other thoughts on the game, Jason? Otherwise, we'll move to the Sunday season ticker. Tick, 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 tick. There we go, Drew. Again, not functioning at all cylinders as I arrived back in the States and ate some delicious fish tacos. You think I'd be raring to go. So those are going to hit somewhere here and I'll be totally jazzed up. But was that? I wasn't able to go, obviously. I was out of town. Seemed like it was quite the jam with some cricket. And,
yeah, we were in this.
None of us were able to go.
we were in the same boat as you for different reasons. So,
right.
Yeah, kind of a tough scene of all of our friends that we saw there. We ended up with 3 folks here that weren't there. But yeah, we had the cricket. We had, looked like players just kind of hanging out in street clothes, which is different from like them all in their Charlie gear, and they're just like dressed to the nines. So kind of see, Toomey hanging out playing whatever you call right field in cricket. And,
right, seeing the Charlie kind of vassal dynamic in like up close, I heard was very fun, especially playing cricket as 2 guys who grew up doing it. And Charlie apparently played county cricket, so that's something to look for. Maybe that's where he has a bowler's mentality when it comes to some of his passing. Who knows? But cool stuff. I thought it was just kind of fun to see some of those images and hear some of the stories, everybody. And the general feedback from the club, I believe, was that let's do way more of this. Let's do a lot more of these now that we don't have the same worry level that we've had for the last few years, and definitely just something where I think it helps build that community. And as Tom said at the beginning, this togetherness. I think that's generally what's happening here is really bringing people together and actually having conversations as opposed to the metaphysical, extrapolation that we sometimes get between supporters and who we're supporting, which is the guys on the field. It's the team on the field. So really cool to see that. So bummed I couldn't make it, but really awesome to hear the club wants to do more. Because that's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's what makes them different. That's what makes us special, right? Like the connection that we have with the team. It's not something that you're necessarily going to see a big club do. Maybe we've only got the Padres left here in town. But thinking again of my history, there's no way that the Phillies, Flyers, Eagles, or Sixers are going to be hosting fans to come hang out with the players. Like that's just not a thing you see in American sport.
That would be a recipe for disaster.
Right.
Right.
Not saying they should.
The approachability is great. That is the difference, I think, at this level too. Even MLS, you'd probably have people with some handlers or just kind of like, hey, here's this section to talk to the players, or what we've seen at Stone before, where there's been tables and stuff, and even that's pretty approachable and great. But at the same time, this seemed like it was really just like a family barbecue, right? Everybody hanging out. Nobody really had an agenda. There was no, hey, everybody's already bought season tickets, so there's not much more to sell them. And so it is a nice benefit for being members, but it's also just something where, and you can, find other ways to engage the community, especially the supporters. That's something that we're gonna take to like moss to a flame. So looking forward to more of that in the community. And then Monday, we had Loyal Select. Obviously, these games aren't broadcast. There's no real way to find out a lot more information than just the team's Twitter accounts or the team's social media, which told us, hey, they won 1-0 against New Mexico. Pretty cool. Good to see them doing well.
Always good to see that.
Yeah,
if we can't see it, might as well see the results going our way. We won. Don't worry, guys. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of just like maybe in the future the weather will be nice. That's kind of what it tells us, right? That we have some players that if they keep winning and we keep seeing winning scores all the time, usually that means that your talent is superior to the other talent they're playing, which I believe we regionally have pretty superior talent. So good to see the trend continues and keep that going. I don't know exactly what happens in terms of like, do they build towards anything? Is there like a actual playoffs or anything? But good to see that again. I think it's mostly just for getting the competition and level of play in and getting these players to experience what it's like to be part of a pro outfit while giving them that platform to possibly spring into the first team. So every once in a while you see a Xavi, you get a CJ Fodry, you get these kids who come through and are able to excel up to the next level. And that's pretty awesome because then we can say they're really one of our own. They're really coming from our, community, what we were just talking about, from that barbecue, growing up, kicking a ball around, and then wearing the shirt. And that's where we all want to be at the end of the day. So pretty cool stuff. And that's why we always talk about the kids and talk about Select when we can, because if we could go and support them, we probably would try and find a way to do that. And if at some point with the club we could do that, that would be fantastic. If anybody's listening, love to go a little Select match.
I think that was put out there on the season ticket call that Ricardo had, that they're trying to work towards that. So don't know how official that is or how much he wants that out there, but we're all locals here. So I think that would be great. I said the last time I was on here, like any more way that we can support, turn heads, kids around town seeing more Loyal, more ways to get it. That's great.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. There is some shout outs. We were shouting out Loyal Select, and let's shout out the kind of friends of the last week, we'll call them, just different people who have helped the SG or maybe even in the news. And so, obviously to the 20 to 30 people who made it to Red Bull Arena, whether they're family, friends, whoever, but we saw quite a few people there wearing Loyal kits, some wearing some local stuff. Pretty awesome whenever you see that. So it is one of those things where I am just ecstatic to see when 3 years ago it was crazy when you're like, we had one person, we had one guy there wearing the shirt. Like it's grown, and you see it continue to grow, and you see the number of people that show up on the road continue to rise, and that is a positive long term. It's just really cool to see. So shout out to those folks. And then obviously to our hosts last week, if nobody listened, who's listening to this, not nobody, if anybody who's listening to this did not listen to that, go back, listen to that great talk between Sean Duffy, our Director of Philanthropy, and then Nicole Peterson, our Director of Marketing and Communications, talking a lot about what's happening with our Pride events this month. So if you are at all wanting to get involved with events coming up, we got our Director of Events here, who can speak to some of that, I'm sure, but at the same time, there is a great bottle episode there for you to be able to experience not only the events that are upcoming, kind of set your calendar, but also get the meaning behind each one of those events and get really why we do some of these things, as opposed to just, maybe seeing it as performative or seeing it as something that we involve in. There really is a meaning behind the choices of each thing that we get involved in. So,
yeah, I thought that was one of our better episodes. Anytime that Nicole's on, I thought her kind of get to know me episode last year was one of the best last year, and then I thought that her and Sean really got into depth, deservedly so last week. So definitely one.
It did run a little long. From this new format, it was the longest episode, so it is that, but there's some good stuff in there. We're not going to do that tonight, though. I'm going to keep the trains on time, so we're going to keep rolling here, and I appreciate them, and again, tons of space to listen to that, and replay it as much as you want. That's the nice thing. Go back, re-listen to it again if you already listened to it. Just make sure that you lock those things in on your calendar. So the other big thing that kind of in the middle of the week dropped right after our podcast last week was one of our own, Andrew Dyer, one of our drummers here with the locals, very involved member. He's been my bus buddy a few times. We got into ride next to each other. He was on the Always Loyal podcast. He's also a military reporter for the UT. And so as a journalist, but just really as a fan, they brought him on to get his unique perspective, especially with Memorial Day there, just kind of talking about the community that he's a part of there, and then how that maybe relates to being a supporter. And it was a very good chat between, obviously, Darren, great question, Smith, and Jordan Carruth. Just, kind of felt like three friends chatting, kind of like this, maybe an extension of our podcast a little bit, if you will, as Andrew's hosted here a few times as well. So shout out, Andrew. Thank you so much. And obviously we'll have you back on here at some point soon. But definitely go listen to that. So all the required listening homework here. You're not just getting one podcast tonight. You're getting two bonus podcasts to go back and listen to. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep listening to this one, but bookmark those, and then you've got your whole queue set for the whole night or your drive for tomorrow morning. So there you go. You guys listen to that, Tom?
Not had a chance.
Come on.
Yeah, that's my Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning commute music.
I'm just not a podcast guy. If I'm listening to something, I'm just going to listen to my music.
Yeah, that's fair.
He doesn't have the commute.
I don't have a commute. I get out of bed and I'm at work.
Right.
Maybe you should just walk around the block just to listen to the Always Loyal
just a commute, just to listen to Andrew.
I'll put it on my to-do list.
There you go. I appreciate it. Tom has said before, this is the only podcast he makes time for, and I appreciate that from you, Tom, that your commitment to us. Well, as any other commitments.
Only for you, Drew.
I appreciate it. The other big just kind of news here is the locals trivia team. Speaking of Nicole Peterson, speaking of our friend Nick Duffy, who's hosted here, Sean Stone hosted here a few weeks ago, and then Travis, obviously, and his wife. As well as Capri and Brandon Wright Rowan. All of the locals trivia team there can be seen in the photo if you're watching us on YouTube. They've got to the semifinals, so now they're going to be in the finals coming up here, which is pretty exciting. Looking at how that's going to go, so that is a fun night before thing. It's going to be up for the Sunset Trivia Tournament. I'm not sure if we have a location. Somebody can chime in here.
Can we go and cheer? Do they let drums in?
I'm not positive. I know they've been doing it at Newtopia Cider, is where they've been doing it all year, but that was on Tuesdays, and so I'm not sure if they're doing. That's why a lot of them haven't appeared on the podcast on various nights, because they normally are doing trivia. But at the same time, that will be on a Friday, the night before this week, so that'll be this Friday, the 10th. But if I could get a location, that would be awesome, and I will shout that out by the end of the podcast. Otherwise, check our socials, and then the Discord, obviously, as well, for where that's going to be happening. But shout out to those guys. Hopefully they can bring down the cup, and just good omens for what's to come here with the club going through the end of the year. And I've gone to trivia before, and I was asked not to come back, so I'll leave it at that. But anyone who contributed to the Pride Raiser, definitely get in on that. That is the other thing we are doing this week, just to kind of give you a what should you do this week as a local. That should be donating to the Pride Raiser and finding a way to contribute. We have a few different ways of doing that. This morning we had we had 218.50, I believe, is what it looked like. So we're kind of rising up the ladder here, and we'll pull up the page here and see if we're any further up. But it is continuing to grow, just grows throughout the year, and we're looking at a pledge, right, in terms of how many goals are scored equals how many dollars are donated. So this month so far, we have $457 pledged in that case, due to the 2 goals that have been scored. So more goals, more scores. So not only can you cheer for that, you can cheer for creating ways for people, and especially trans support services, in the cases who we're pride raising for, and helping kids navigate that just kind of difficult part in their life where they're trying to make these decisions, and their families as well. So it's an amazing, amazing group. Obviously, we gave you the whole listen to the podcast from last week's statement that applies wholly to this in terms of just getting attention, but please donate. Just put your pledges in, so that way that we know we can count on you when the time comes here at the end of the month. But the other thing I would like to say is that we also have, in terms of transitioning, we have the All Are Welcome t-shirt in the bazaar in our shop. The proceeds from that also will be going to Pride Raiser as well. So that is another way for you to participate and wear something cool and get something maybe more immediate, even in the next few weeks, before the end of this, to donate and give into the cause and have something cool to wear around. So go to the website, the All Are Welcome tee. It's on the shop page in the bazaar. And great work from our producer. They're throwing it up on the screen there. Thank you, Mr. Director. And there's the All Are Welcome tee. We have it in kids sizes, youth sizes, and baby sizes as well. That is something that's been added since last week. So if you have not gone recently, there's some other cool stuff on the shop. Definitely check it out. But those are 2 different ways to donate. And then this weekend, there's going to be a donation coming up at the match, just to kind of round out our charity corner here, or our philanthropy, and that would be using pull tabs cans. So any pull tabs from cans, we're going to bring those to the match on 619 day. So this is something to remember. Just anytime you're having one of these cool hard stones, maybe you're going to want to take the tab off the top and then put those together and bring them in. If you've ever been part of something like this, it's a fun way to feel like your drinking habit can also sustain a community and a charity. So that's a nice thing to be able to give back and use something that we do every day, just to be able to increase donations just through acceleration programs like this. If we all give a few, it becomes a lot. So save those up, and then look for the Ronald McDonald House Charity of Greater Las Vegas program. And it's something that's kind of a nice share sometimes when you play a city. Maybe you'll beat them on the field, but everybody wins off the field in this case. So the fun thing is that it's kind of 2 clubs coming together for 1 donation. So look forward to that. Look for more information from the club on that. It's just something that we're looking to do here. So let's jump into the game that's upcoming here. As I said, I want to kind of keep us running along, but this is our first home match. So we have to talk a little bit about it and how excited we freaking are about going back to Grandma's house. Jason.
We do.
What? Yeah. How excited are you for this weekend?
I'm very excited. It's also the not just the return of the Loyal, but obviously the return of Corey Herzog, the one who got away or went away or whatever happened. He was always cool to me, so I'll probably see him walking up or down the hill and give him a go Birds and get a thumbs up back, as he is from the great city of Hershey, Pennsylvania. As you know how they churn out American soccer players over there, and a big Eagles fan. So I'll say what's up to him, and then hope that he doesn't score in all the ways that he didn't score here last year. Hartford is what can you say? We just tied Baby Bulls that were 1-10-1. So doesn't matter what Hartford has looked like or played like or what results they've gotten.
Caden Clark might end up on their roster this week.
we might see Caden Clark. They might see, it's the European teams are off. Maybe there's some loan deals going through there that we don't even know about. So
who knows?
So yeah, so
that was the preview.
We just need to kick the crap out of somebody.
Game. And then
that's what you look at it. And I think it,
Rodgers.
and
you never know.
Yeah, and coming off of games that should have been easy games, and we're not. So you just want to be there and be part of what pulls them across the line and gets 3 points this time.
For sure. Tom, from a game perspective, how likely do you think it is that Corey scores against us?
Oh man, do we? It's San Diego, former San Diego player. So, I mean,
feels like
track record is there.
Bet the over.
Yeah, if I'm a betting man, like Jason, I'm taking the over.
Unfortunately, it seems almost likely. So I feel like if it doesn't happen, well, I'll be like, phew. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm having Josh King at Watford this season vibes. Just played for Everton, then didn't score a single goal. Played against us first game, hat trick.
Great. That's classic San Diego sports.
Dougie Martinez got us this year already, right? Didn't he? I thought he did in that Sacramento game.
I believe he did.
I don't.
So yeah,
So,
we've already been nabbed.
Yeah, we're 0 for 1.
It's happened before. We've had it happen with previous players. I believe last year as well. Some of the one or two of the players we had the year previous scores against us. So Clementa, I believe.
Clementa ended our season practically last year,
right?
At least as locals.
Right. So. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, right? They just feel very classic San Diego sports. It's the tropes we unfortunately fall into. So I'm just projecting out of the universe. Let's just assume it, and then the blanket of assurance will then wash over and eliminate
score one
the possibility. And then
score one more. Find the net.
I just did it. You can blame me. It's fine. But it'll be a fun match just to be back in the stands. It's going to be fun to be together. To have a game, right? And since the last game, there's been a number of things that have gone on, and in terms of what we'd like to do this weekend, I think there's just kind of generally all of the touch points here. Obviously make sure to remember your parking passes, get your AXS app, maybe log in, check that out. Those are the kind of things you want to look at. Obviously, normal TV stuff in terms of ESPN Plus. And then the CW, I believe, is still carrying it locally. Jason,
it depends on they have a weird schedule. It depends on the game and the day. So let me see. I actually have this. I always have the loyal schedule up on my phone. This week, Hartford. No, it is just Your View this week.
Your View, that is it locally. So you should come to the match. It doesn't matter.
Right. Especially if you have DirecTV.
If you're an extra local, obviously if you are not in the county, it's going to be a little more difficult, or in Southern California to get to the match. You can watch on TV. The rest of you get to the stadium. And definitely, Tom, where are we going to be pregame?
Coronado. Wouldn't have it any other way.
There we go. 4 p.m. on Saturday. Meet us at Coronado. And if for some reason you can't make it there, 6:35 at the Fountain for the march. I feel like I just kind of have to go through this stuff. It's been a while.
It's been like 5 years.
Yeah, so I feel like we have to hit those points, but definitely watch for the man of the match in the Discord at the 70th minute, something we haven't done in a long time. So, keep your thumbs ready. Obviously, just staying in the Discord and seeing what's going on. We'll always get you the most up-to-date information. In terms of, what's going on with COVID as well, if you want to mask up, there's been a lot more COVID cases in the last few months. I would not feel in the slightest that, hey, you might want to wear one. You may want to be in a good spot there too. It's always up to you, but it's obviously optional in terms of what's there. Post will be at our hands, and then just in terms of the game itself, Jason, aren't you glad that we're having a home game this weekend?
Orange, I'm glad. Yes. You may see myself in my bright orange Hawaiian shirt, which is the only orange shirt that I own. Actually, I have my loyal one too, but I have until Saturday to be able to get back in shape to get into that one. And I've got a lot of orange coming up from over Drew's way. March at 6:35. You mentioned not going to be any different really, but what we will be doing as leadership and myself heading it up is heading up an End Gun Violence orange banner for us to march behind instead of the usual locals banner. So this is something that's kind of, something I've been thinking a lot about lately personally as a teacher and a parent who sends their children to school every day. What happened in Texas a couple weeks ago now, and around the world, or around the country, Philadelphia this last weekend. I'm sure that you've seen the list of places where mass shootings have occurred. I know we don't have all the answers. The locals are not a super PAC or anything like that. But there is a I will speak, I will act part of us, and I think that's an important part of the team and ourselves. So just something that I know that a lot of people are doing. Some people kind of turn away or shake their head or say it's, oh, you waited for it to go mainstream, blah blah blah. We just want to make sure that at the end of the day we have said our piece and the people know where we stand on certain issues. So again, we're not going to solve it all. We're not all saying that there's one way to do it and this is what we're going to do and this is what we're going to say. I think end gun violence is pretty broad and we can agree to that. So someone that I listen to, you hear a million people give talks on these things, and he just said, yes, we have a mental health crisis, we have a gun crisis, and we have an anger crisis, and you can do something about one of those three, even if you don't believe that all of them are the issue or need to be fixed. If you do something for one of those three, so we want to make sure that we ourselves are inclusive, that we are making sure that no one feels left out or in the shadows and starts to tumble into a spiral that could lead to violence. We want to make sure that people know that we as a group do not believe in violence. So, we are not ultras. We are not here to fight. We talked about that with Mexico. So what we want to do is, again, just say end gun violence. And what that means for each person is up to them, but we want to make sure that the locals have stated that. So we'll be marching behind that banner. It will be hung then in front of the section. And afterwards, when we do our man of the match, we're going to drop it down and have it front and center there as well. So we'll see if there's any other things that come out of that. If you would like to make a personal statement, I talked to the club today. Signs are allowed. I know that we don't see that a lot at Torero, really, for loyal games. Not a lot of
right, not as many
people holding up
bring
"I
signs.
love you" to me,
Yeah, you got the Scousers,
like
you
that.
got some other people, but that was really well said, Jason. I just want to, I know you wanted to talk yourself through and go all the way around
Sure.
the track, and I wanted to let you run your whole 400 meters there. So
appreciate it.
Because it's something you've been very passionate about, and really wanted to make sure that the act part really came through you very strongly this last few weeks, and I feel you a lot. I mean, it's something that is an epidemic that has been going on far too long in our country, and it takes moments like this where we all just say not enough. It's not enough. What we're doing is not enough, and we need to do more. So that is, I think, the general sentiment here. Pride this month is a celebration. There's a lot of things to celebrate, and sometimes there's things you have to talk about that aren't so celebratory. And it's terrible. It's our first game back, and we have to talk about something that's not as celebratory, but it's a great way to involve the hearts of where we're at and minds of where we're at with our hearts for soccer and this community that believes in something bigger than just kicking a ball around for 90 minutes and screaming, which we love so much, and we are so excited to do this Saturday. But we want to make sure that our priorities are clear here, for sure, from the kick. So thank you, Jason, for helping lead that, and I look forward to that. Tom, I heard there was some late news as well at this match. There is something else to maybe celebrate or look for. A certain Perito.
I think we're going to have a little friend at the game.
Oh.
I heard rumblings that a certain friend of the group.
Statue, or the statue is coming? The statue?
Who knows?
From the statue?
You'll just have to be there.
There has been rumblings. I think there was a sighting at the store earlier this year where we saw a real live bum in the flesh. He was last seen in Mission Valley, for those who didn't know, in 1886 when he passed away. And so it makes sense that he would pop up at the store.
Right.
But sometimes he wanders. He ends up different places. We have yet to see him in Torero, but Bum does as Bum does. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see him this weekend. So that's a reason to have to be in the stands, to, again, be there, wear orange, please, if it's something you feel called to do. And we will be glad to stand there with you on that. Donate to the Pride Raiser, as I said before. It's another thing to definitely do before you go to the match here this Saturday. Listen to our friendly, companion podcasts as we put out there with Andrew Dyer on Always Loyal, as well as the Pride Raiser episode from last week. And then meet us at Coronado Brewing at 4 p.m. for the best Saturday that you've had in 2 months. So bring all of it, whatever you have, whatever it is for you, and we are going to go wild here on Saturday. Tom, any last thoughts before I take us out, bro?
No, I'm just happy to get back to 109. Happy to see everybody again and cheer on our team.
I said we weren't going to go long, Jason, but here we are. You and me, we get it worked up. We get the Philly going. We're passing pretzels back and forth.
Yeah.
And having a great time.
We got Padres and Phillies 2 weeks from this weekend. So, we'll have to see if we do something for that too. If we had a director of events, they could put something together.
Who might be going to the game anyway. Maybe
Possibly.
It's a convenient way to kill some birds with just a singular stone here. And we don't condone bird violence. It's just
no bird violence, right?
No bird violence.
Freeing two birds with one.
We're going to free two birds with one key. Yes, I like that analogy. Let's take that. Let's just rework some analogies. I like that. So we'll be doing that in the lounge. Join us in the next 5 minutes after the show to hang out for a little bit and just chat about nonsense. Maybe a bit about why, Corey, why? Why, Corey, why? We'll take it from there. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in and making it this long on this edition of the Loyal Locals podcast. I'm Drew Stack. Thank you so much to Jason, our director of events, and to Tom, our director of operations, for joining me here. This has been a fun evening, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Appreciate it.
Any day, go forever, oh, Castanary, valley and mountain, chaparral to the sea, and the colors of our rainbow, sunset, orange, Tory, green, red, our one, North, Boise, ST, loyal forever, some great North County, desert, 2 islands, goodbye, now you and me.